This is how to crochet a wavy chevron stitch. This is the summary for my more advanced followers. So to start our chain, we are going to need multiples of 10 plus 3. I use 23 chains, and then we're going to add our first double crochet into the third chain from the hook. Then we're going to add one more double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. And then we're going to double crochet 3 stitches together. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through all the stitches on the hook. Then we'll add 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then we'll put 3 double crochet into the same stitch, and I'm going to use the top loop and the back loop. And that will minimize the gap that would otherwise be created on the chain. And then I'm going to add 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, add another decrease, and it's just going to repeat up and down until we add 2 double crochet into the very last chain. I am going to post the beginner-friendly version after this, where each row gets its own video again, and we'll go over color changes and adding borders and all the fun stuff. But for row 2, we're going to chain 2 and then add a double crochet into the first stitch, and then 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to double crochet 3 stitches together again. And then after that, we're going to add 1 into the next 3, then 3 into 1, and it's just gonna keep going up and down, all the way until the end. And then we're going to add 2 double crochet into the very last stitch. In this case, it'll be the turning chain, and that's pretty much it. If you enjoy these quick little close-up crochet tutorials, be sure to like and follow. I post them along with my beginner-friendly tutorials almost every single day. And if you have any questions about this stitch or another stitch, or you would like to request a stitch, you can leave that in the comments of any of my videos. I am working strictly off of requests at this point. I will be launching my website soon. I've been working really hard on it, which is why my uploading has decreased a little bit. And I'm so excited about it because it'll give you a way to find all the stitches you're looking for without having to scroll. So there you go. Happy hooking! This is the extended version of the chevron stitch, part 1. For the starting chain, you need multiples of 10 plus 3. I'm using 23 for this example, and I'm going to add my first double crochet into the third chain from the hook. Then I'm going to add 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 chains. If you're new to crochet, the multiples of 10 plus 3 means that I need at least 10 stitches for a repeat, and then the 3 is to cover the turning chain at the beginning of the row. So after this last double crochet, I am going to double crochet 3 stitches together. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook into the first chain, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. Then I'm going to yarn over again, insert my hook into the next chain, pull up another loop, and then yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to yarn over again, insert my hook into the third chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through all the loops on my hook. And that is how you double crochet 3 stitches together. Then I'm going to add 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 chains before I add 3 double crochet into 1 chain. And for that one, I'm going to be working into the top loop and the back bump, but that is not a must. That's just a personal preference and a little hack. So I'm going to insert my hook right there at the very edge of the chain, and I'm going to pick up that back loop right here. And then I'll just add my 3 double crochet into that exact same space. This is going to give us the tip of the chevron stitch. The double crochet 3 together is going to give us the bottom of the chevron stitch. And the tip and the bottom are separated by 3 double crochet every single time. So we're going to add 1 double crochet into the next 3 chains before we add another double crochet 3 stitches together. And then another 3 chains, and you just keep going with that pattern until you get to the end of your chain. Now if you want to make a blanket of this stitch, the best way is to make a swatch like this one, and then to measure the width of this swatch, and then take the total width that you're going for divided by the width of your swatch, and then that'll tell you how many swatches you need to get to the size you want. So if you made a swatch like this one using 20 chains and your measurements tell you that you need 10 of these swatches to get to the size that you're looking for, then you would multiply 20 by 10 to get to 200, and then you just add 3 to finish your beginning chain. After your last double crochet for the row, we are going to add 2 double crochet into the very last chain. And that's it for row 1. If you like these kind of close-up stitch tutorials, be sure to like and follow. I post them almost every single day on my page. This is how to crochet the Wavy Chevron stitch part 2. We are on row 2, and we're going to add 2 chains to our turning chain, and then we're going to turn our work and add our first double crochet into the very first stitch. So normally you would skip this stitch, but we do have 2 stitches in the first and last stitch of every single row, so the turning chain still counts as a stitch, and the turning chain plus that first double crochet count as 2 stitches. But after that, we're just going to add a double crochet into each of the next 3 stitches before we double crochet the next 3 stitches together. So we're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through all of them. I did that a little quick, but hopefully you understand it from the first row. Then we're going to add 1 double crochet into the next 3 stitches, and then we're going to add 3 double crochet into the next stitch. So that is going to give us the downward turn and the upward turn, and we're just going to repeat that with 3 stitches in between each turn, and 3 stitches in one for the top, and then 3 stitches together for the bottom. In the next videos, the next 2 videos, I'm going to show you 2 different ways that you can do color changes for the rows. And because I think that's a lot of people use the chevron stitch with alternating colors, because that's usually what a chevron looks like. You could do the same color for an entire blanket, it would still look cute. But to get the full effect of the stitch, it is advised to use 2 colors. But if you enjoy these kind of close-up stitch tutorials, be sure to like and follow. I post them almost every single day on my page. And if you have any questions about this stitch or another stitch, or you would like to request a stitch, or you want to learn how to crochet, I post content on that and answer all kinds of questions all the time. And oh, and then you put 2 stitches into the turning chain right there. That's why we're still here. Yes, so I'm going to pick up both loops because I'm adding 2 stitches in there. You could add 1, but it is going to make the gap bigger. So by grabbing both loops, you can minimize the gap at the end, and then just make sure you count your stitches, and I'll see you in part 3 for the color change. Bye! This is how to work color changes for the Wavy Chevron stitch. I have 2 methods for that, and this is method 1, and you can use it for any stitch, but I'm just using the chevron stitch as an example. So I just finished my first row. I'm going to pick up my new color, I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to chain 2 more for my turning chain for this stitch. Then I'm pulling my original color tight so that it kind of resembles a knot, and then I'm going to work my row as I normally would. So once I insert my hook into the stitch, I'm going to grab my tails, I'm going to hold them over the hook, and then I'm going to finish my stitch like I would, and I'm going to do that for at least 5 stitches. This saves me from having to weave in the ends at the end of my project. I can just crochet them into my stitches and cut them off at the very end. And no, they don't come out as long as you do it for at least 5 stitches. I like to go a little bit more. You can also tell if yarn is going to fall out as you're working. Just work it in a little bit longer. Once you wash it, the fibers kind of lock in place. I wash mine in a regular wash machine. I even put my blankets in the dryer. I know that you're technically not supposed to, and it does felt the fibers over time. But I like my blankets loved, and I love it when they smell good, so and are soft and fluffy, and the first couple of washes they will be. So that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. What I don't like are scratchy, stiff crochet blankets, and the dryer fixes that. So now I'm at the end of my row, and when I flip it over, you can see where I've hidden the tails. Now I'm going to give it a little tug and make sure it's nice and tight and hidden, and just play around, stretch it a little bit, and then I'm just going to cut it. So this method works really well if you're changing your colors after an odd number of rows. So every row, every third row, every fifth row. But in the next video, I'll show you an even easier method when you're changing colors after an even number of rows. This is how you can change colors on a striped blanket. I'm using the chevron stitch as an example. This method is really useful if you're changing your colors after an even number of rows. So here I'm changing after 2 rows. So I'm going to grab my color and I'm going to hold it next to the row, and then I'm going to just pick it up. It's easier for you to just watch it than it is for me to explain it. But essentially, this keeps me from having to weave in my ends. Yes, this keeps me from having to weave in ends because I'm just carrying them along the side. Now, for this method, you do kind of have to add a border at the very end, but a border makes anything look more finished anyway. So if you're already used to adding borders to your blankets, this isn't going to be a problem. Plus, personal preference, I would much rather add a border than weave in 5 million ends. But that's it. You just work your stitches as normal. The yarn isn't going to go anywhere. It's right there next to your rows. So, happy hooking!